Hello dear students, in this video we are going to study stanza second and third, that are the remaining stanza of the poem To a Shade, written by W.B. Yeats. In our previous video we have discussed about the reference of stanza 2. Stanza 2 is purely referred to Hugh Lane, who was an art dealer. And as I have told you about who was Hugh Lane, what damnation was offered on him, was conferred on him. And now in this stanza, W.B. Yeats is referring about Hugh Lane, and he is explaining in these lines like a man. The starting lines of this stanza is: a man of your own passionate serving kind, who had brought in his full hands what had they only known, had given their children's children loftier thought, sweeter emotion, working in their veins like gentle blood, has been driven from the place, and insult heaped upon him for his pains and for his open handedness. Disgrace, your enemy, an old foul mouth, had set the peck upon him. So, in this stanza rises to passionate scorn and links Parnell and Lane and their common enemy, an old foul mouth, that refers to William Murphy. So, in these lines, as you will notice, that a man of your own passionate serving kind, here the poet refer this phrase to Hugh Lane, and he is speaking about him, that who had brought in his full hands. Hugh Lane was an art dealer, and he thought of establishing a gallery in Dublin, and he himself strongly favored a design for a bridge gallery to be built across the Liffey. But the Dublin nationalists strongly disapproved of the design for the bridge and then went on to attack first Hugh Lane and then the paintings themselves. So here is a reference of that context. And in line number 3, the poet is saying that had they only known, this is a conditional sentence, and he is saying if the people of Dublin would know about that this man had given their children's children lawfare thought, that this man's deeds will give their children's children lawfare thought, means if the gallery was established, the generation of Dublin's people will proceed towards loftier thoughts, sweeter emotions, and working in their veins like gentle blood has been driven from the place. But here the poet is in the last concluding line of this stanza, the poet is mentioning what was done with Hugh Lane, that all parties concerned had lost their tempers, and Lane insisted that the gallery be financed immediately, preferably by the city. He was attacked by the people of Dublin who were nationalist, and here a phrase is mentioned, that insult heaped upon him for his pains and for his open-handedness. For his open-handedness he was disgraced, he was insulted. Your enemy, here the poet is directly addressing to Hugh Lane, and he is saying that your enemy, who was an old foul mouth. Here is the reference of William Murphy, as I have discussed with you in stanza first, that William Murphy had set the pack upon him. Here the pack means the group of nationalists, and he means here William Murphy has led the hunt against them. Now let's move to third stanza. Go unquiet wanderer. Here W.B. Yeats is urging the ghost of Parnell to go back, and he is saying, go unquiet wanderer. The poet asks the ghost to return to its grave. The grave is situated in Glasnevin Cemetery. So, in line second, and gather the Glasnevin coverlet about your head till the dust stops your ear. So, here he is urging the ghost of Parnell to go back to its tomb and cover itself in Glasnevin Cemetery, because he is saying the time for you to taste of that salt breathe. He is saying that this is not the proper time to taste you the salty breath of the sea of Dublin, and listen at the corners has not come. He is saying that this is not the suitable time for him to revisit the town and to smell, to feel the breathe, salty breath of the sea. You had enough of sorrow before death. Away, away, you are safer in the tomb. So here the poet is urging Charles Stuart Parnell's ghost to go back to its grave. And here he, in the last line, he is saying that you are safer in the tomb. Means the situations of that country is not suitable, not only suitable for Parnell when he was alive, but now it's also not suitable for his ghost to revisit the place again. So, in the last stanza rounds off the opening image of Parnell's memory by referring to his burial place at Glasnevin Cemetery, and then catches up the image of Dublin's beauty by saying that the time has not come for him to taste of the salt breath. The poem ends with the satiric thrust that Parnell is safer in the tomb than in the Dublin which has heaped insult upon Lane and Parnell. So that's all about this poem. Thank you all.